All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going full detective. We're putting on our trench coats and grabbing our magnifying glasses to investigate the tiny but incredibly powerful chips at the very heart of spatial computing. You know, these are the little brains that either make the whole experience magical or a total flop. And we're going to unmask their secrets.
And really, it all boils down to this one huge question. How in the world do you strap a supercomputer to someone's face and not make them sick? I mean, this is the fundamental mystery that every single company building these AR and VR devices is trying to solve. And let me tell you, it is incredibly difficult because our brains are just, well, they're super sensitive. The slightest disconnect between what your body feels and what your eyes are seeing, yeah, that can make you feel awful and fast.
And the main culprit, the number one villain in this whole story, is a little thing called latency. Think of it like this. It's that tiny, tiny delay between the moment you move your head and the moment the image on the screen actually updates. We're talking milliseconds here. But if you get it wrong, you get that dreaded cyber sickness. But get it right? Well, that's when the magic happens, and the virtual world starts to feel completely real.
So as we started digging into this mystery, our investigation pointed us to three main players, three competing philosophies, really. Each one has a completely different, you could say radical, strategy for building what they think is the perfect chip to solve this problem.
Okay, let's start with our first person of interest, if you will, XREAL. Their entire philosophy can be summed up in one word: specialization. Extreme specialization.
So their chip, the X1, it's kind of like a master surgeon's scalpel. It is built right into the glasses themselves. And it has one job and one job only: to keep that virtual screen you're looking at perfectly, flawlessly locked in space. Basically, it takes all the heavy lifting of figuring out where things should be from whatever device you're plugged into so that screen just stays put. No jitter, no swimming around, just rock solid.
All right, next up in our lineup, we've got a name you've probably heard of: Qualcomm. You'll find their chips in most of the standalone headsets out there, like the Meta Quest 3. And their philosophy? Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame.
Their chip, the XR2 Gen 2, is the ultimate all-rounder. Think of it less like a scalpel and more like a Swiss Army knife. It's a powerful, all-in-one brain designed to do everything at once. We're talking running the operating system, crunching the graphics, handling all the head tracking, the whole shebang, all inside one single, untethered device. It's an absolute master at juggling power, performance, and, of course, that all-important battery life.
And that brings us to our third and final subject, Apple. Their strategy? Well, it's not subtle. It's about bringing overwhelming, brute force computational power to solve the problem.
Yeah, Apple's M-series chips are absolute computational titans. We're talking full-blown laptop-class processors shoehorned into a headset, just focused on raw, unadulterated power. And their secret weapon? It's something called unified memory. Think of it like a massive, multi-lane superhighway for data, letting them do things and create experiences that, frankly, just weren't possible before.
Okay, so there you have it. Three totally different philosophies. But talk is cheap, right? What does the evidence actually say? It's time to get down to the nitty-gritty, to look at the hard data, the clues that show us the real-world consequences of these very different choices.
Let's start with the specialist, with XREAL. Their X1 chip hits a motion-to-photon latency of just 3 milliseconds. I want you to just let that sink in. 3 milliseconds. That is so fast, it's literally below the threshold of human perception. Your brain can't even register a delay that short. You simply can't feel it.
Now, in contrast, you look at both the all-rounder from Qualcomm and the powerhouse from Apple, and they're targeting a 12 millisecond latency. Now, don't get me wrong, 12 milliseconds is still blazingly fast, but it's 4 times higher than the X1. So what gives? Why such a big difference?
Well, it turns out the reason the numbers are so different is because they are playing two completely different games. See, XREAL uses what's called optical see-through. You're literally looking through a clear piece of glass at the real world, so any digital object has to be pinned to that real world with near zero delay, otherwise it looks like it's swimming around. On the other hand, Apple and Qualcomm use video see-through. In that case, cameras on the outside of the headset are showing you the world on screens inside. Their challenge isn't locking a small object to the world, it's making the entire world feel like it isn't lagging.
But of course, there's always a catch, isn't there? And in this case, it's power consumption. That incredible speed has a cost. You can see here the X1 chip just sips power.
We're talking less than a single watt. But the others, they're guzzling it down. And on a device that you're wearing on your face, more power means two things you really don't want: more heat and more weight.
And this right here is the crucial point. Look at the impact on the actual device. Less power means you get a lighter, way more comfortable device. The XREAL glasses come in at just 87 grams. That's like the weight of a deck of cards. And they don't need a fan. Compare that to the Quest 3 or the Vision Pro, which are well over 500 grams and need tiny little fans whirring away just to stay cool. It's fascinating, right? The philosophy of the chip literally dictates the physical shape and feel of the thing you wear.
So, on the surface, this all seems pretty straightforward. We have 3 totally separate paths, 3 independent solutions. But, any good detective knows you have to keep digging. You have to look for that hidden connection. And guess what? Our investigation uncovered a really surprising one. And this brings us to Exhibit A, the key piece of evidence, the coprocessor. So what is that? Think of it like a superhero's sidekick. It's a smaller, specialized chip that's designed to take one specific, really repetitive job off the main processor's plate, so it can do that one job way faster and more efficiently.
And here is the twist in our investigation. Get this. Even Apple, with its all-powerful Powerhouse M-series chip, relies on one of these specialist coprocessors. They call it the R1, and its job sounds awfully familiar. Its one and only job is to handle all the data from the sensors and cameras to hit that critical 12-millisecond latency target. It functions just like the X1.
So this is it. This is the big secret we've unmasked. It turns out that for the stuff that is absolutely critical, the stuff where every millisecond counts, even the most powerful general-purpose chip in the world isn't good enough on its own. They all need a specialist, a dedicated helper chip to get the job done.
Okay, so what's the final verdict from our investigation? Well, the evidence is clear. There is no single best chip. It all depends on what you want to do. The specialist approach of the X1, with its low power and incredible stability, that's absolutely perfect for someone who just wants a comfortable, lightweight, universal big screen for getting work done or watching a movie.
But on the flip side, you've got Apple's Powerhouse approach that's built for a totally different person. It's for the creative professional who needs every last drop of performance for super heavy tasks like editing photos or video. For them, that raw power is worth the trade-offs in size, weight, and, well, price.
So ultimately, it really breaks down like this. Each philosophy is serving a different master. You've got the specialist, the X1, for the person who wants that lightweight, stable, universal display for everyday stuff. You've got the all-arounder, the XR2, for the gamer and social user who wants a totally self-contained VR world. And then you've got the Powerhouse, the M-series and R1 combo, for the pro who demands peak performance. They're all making brilliant, intentional trade-offs. Which brings us all the way back to the question we started with. After all this, after uncovering all these secrets, should we be amazed?
And the answer is absolutely yes. But here's the thing, we shouldn't be amazed that they're so different. We should be amazed that each of these is such an elegant, clever solution to what is a genuinely, seemingly impossible problem. And that just leaves us with one final tantalizing question. What happens in the future when these paths start to converge? What happens when the specialist's incredible speed finally meets the Powerhouse's massive brain?